Welcome to Content Supply Live, the show where smart marketers stay ahead of the curve. We're breaking down what's trending, what's working, and what's next in the world of content, strategy, and storytelling. Each week, we bring you real-time insights, fresh takes from industry pros, and the one-of-a-kind conversations that help you create content that actually drives results. No fluff, no guesswork, just bold, actionable insights that you can use right now. Let's dive in. Last night we had the jaw-dropping Met Gala 2025, and just before that, we wrapped up the Silicon Slopes Marketing Summit in Utah. Two totally different events, but both gave us a masterclass in branding. Today we're going to dive into how culture and strategy collide, from red carpet moments that go viral to the tactic insights driving growth for brands in 2025. So let's first talk about the Met Gala. For me, I feel like the Met Gala is the Super Bowl of fashion marketing. It's not just about what people wear, it's about the story behind the look. I know that there were a lot of celebrities there, like Zendaya, A$AP Rocky, and Rihanna, that came dressed not only to impress, but to represent brand partnerships and cultural statements. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, and how... and I'm also interested to hear about how much brand loyalty today is impacted by culture rather than the product itself. So let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I can dive in first here. I'll share. So here's Vogue, best dressed stars from the night. I think the thing with a lot of these styles, this is coming from a guy who wears a denim jacket and wears a hat 8 times out of 10 days. So take that for what it's worth, to be honest. But in my opinion, half the stuff that's here is not just fashion, but it's just weird, to be frank. A lot of the stuff that I'm seeing right here on this page is phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. A lot of here's stuff is really dope in my mind. I did notice a lot of gals wearing suit type motifs, which I thought was interesting. And this is coming from someone who doesn't understand a lot of these things. Anything that, a lot of these looks just look sweet. The stuff that my wife was showing me, which I think was from pop culture, I'll go grab some of those that I thought were very, very obscure and odd. But most of the stuff here is it's pretty cool. When it comes to how this really affects anything, it's a huge fundraising night. I think they said they raised $30 million last night. A seat at a table is $75K and buying a table is $300K. So a lot of these people aren't paying for them directly, but certain brands are funding them to show up. And so when you talk about the power of celebrity and we're seeing faces we recognize and some people that we don't, we got friggin' Chance the Rapper. I was like, he's not Childish Gambino, it's the other guy. But Chance the Rapper here, there's so many different types of folks that just because they're associated with a event, it brings not only eyeballs and interest, but obviously we're talking about people who are going to something that is so out of reach for the normal brand, the normal person. And it's that eventual thing. A lot of people want to be in this ecosystem and around it. And I think it's very fascinating from an investment standpoint that a lot of these luxury brands, profit margins are pretty amazing. So they can create these types of events, but it's because they've created such a interest, intrigue, and a feeling behind what a logo, what a, when you see Vogue, when you see Gucci, when you see Louis Vuitton, when you see these high level luxury brands, they need to be associated with something that is larger than life, something that is sleek. And I'm sure they have certain other elements. This is coming from someone who is not their target audience in any way, but from a marketing perspective and branding perspective, aligning what that visually feels like and capturing that with the celebrity and the level that they want to. I think it's a decent thing to do. And obviously we're talking about it. I'm sure there's other news channels that are just dissecting the ins and the outs of that. But I find it entertaining, and it does kind of give me, no joke, the vibes of the Hunger Games. Some of the stuff these folks wear are just the weirdest crap. And when you're in the middle of your thoughts here, Kate, I'm going to grab, see if we can find the weirdest looks from the Met Gala, and then I will roast those. So over to you, Kate.
I just had a cough attack. I'm so sorry. I'm back.
She's still alive.
One of my favorite, I'm still struggling. One of my favorite looks from last night was, or one of the brands, I guess, that stood out to me the most yesterday was actually Gap. So historically, the Met Gala is really, like you said, Justine, kind of the Super Bowl for all these luxury brands. But I think it's really, I think sometimes it causes like the Met Gala, like you said, Brenden, to feel a little bit like the capital of the Hunger Games, and feel a little bit out of touch. So I thought it was really cool that Gap actually styled one of these actresses. I'm pulling up the photo right here, but this is Davine Joy Randolph dressed head to toe in like a Gap denim gown. If you guys want to talk about this, you can.
No, it's interesting. I like the vibe's cool. There's other ones too that look like their Instagram will share that as well. Had another.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that like Gap sponsored like a table at the Met Gala because I mean they're not like a luxury brand. They're not somebody that you would think would be at the Met Gala and like sponsor one of these tables. But I mean, I like the looks. I like them a lot better than some of the other looks that are like made by these super luxury brands, super, super expensive. So,
right. It's super interesting stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It comes back to like that's a pretty neat thing to dive into, but obviously, like, I'm not going to lie, like this stuff's just whack. Like, I like Andre 3000. I'm a big Outkast fan myself. This is fetching just like, what are we doing? Are you strapping a piano to your back? Like, it's cool, you know, but there's just odd looks here and there. Like this Goggins one, this was so weird. Like, is it a kilt? It looks like unfinished type look. Am I wrong?
it does. It does. It's like very frayed and yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
pre put together. I don't know. There's just certain things I was like, why is that the I don't know, there's the weirdest stuff that you see sometimes on display. Like these are all great examples where like this is giving me very David Bowie vibes, you know, for Chapel Roan. They're dressing like that. But it's all over the place on the oddity spectrum. But oh man, it's just I don't know. From a branding perspective, worth it for some, maybe not for others. Gap, that's cool that they did that. I had no idea that they would dive into this game. Like, does H&M play in this world at all? I know that's like totally brand inconsistent to their fast fashion and cheap, but like it'd be that kind of equivalent where it's like a household name playing around in this space. But
yeah, I'm curious to see if more everyday brands that aren't luxury hop into this. I feel like it would be really cool to kind of spin that narrative on its head for a lot of these like fast fashion brands if they are constantly being criticized about not being sustainable or not, you know, just wanting to like make a buck at the end of the day. I think it would be cool for them to invest in a piece that is more like art and like a real creative demonstration of their abilities.